Welcome to Big Faces Worldwide. It's your guy Big Will when I'm back with this boxing talk. What's good with your fam? Happy New Year's, man. Happy New Year's. 2019 has arrived, man. Check it. I want to talk a little bit about Gervonta Tank Davis. Tank has made numerous headlines over the past week or so, man. For those who don't know, he got a big fight scheduled with Abner Mares coming up in February 9th out there in Carson, California. It's his first headline, first time he's going to headline as the main event. And Tank's excited, man. Tank has been, they had like a media day a couple days ago, and he did a whole bunch of interviews. A whole lot of press was there. And he did a whole bunch of interviews and said a whole bunch of interesting things, man, that has got the internet and social media going wild, man. Tank is, let's address the first issue. Well, not issue, but one of the first things that Tank has said over the past week or something, man. He said that Vasily Lomachenko, who many consider one of the top 3 pound-for-pound fighters in the world, he says he smokes him. He said he also smokes Tevin Farmer. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of people disagree. A lot of people may agree or disagree, but everybody got something to say about it, man. You know what I'm saying? Me, myself, when I make comments like the comments I'm about to make, I noticed that, I may lose a few subscribers. You know what I'm saying? I notice it every time I state my opinion on something that everybody might not agree with. I tend to lose some subscribers, man, but I'm going to do me. I'm going to do my channel how I want to do my channel. I'm going to say what I believe, and I'm going to give my opinion on things accordingly. Now, as far as Gervonta Tank Davis versus Vasily Lomachenko, I think that is a very, very good matchup. I think that's a real big test for Tank and Lomachenko as well, man. We have never seen Lomachenko face a puncher like Tank. I know you want to say Nicholas Waters, the Axeman, you know what I'm saying? But Nicholas Waters was defeated mentally, man. A lot of Lomachenko's fighters, who was on that little 4 or 5 fight run when he was making them quit, man. A lot of them lacked the mental capacity, man, to be a true champion, to be a true warrior, man. Because you got to be not only physically fit, you got to be mentally ready, man. You got to be mentally prepared to fight a guy like Lomachenko, man. And those guys were defeated mentally, as well. I mean, he was putting paws on them, man. He was, peppering them with all types of punches and bunches from various different angles, you know what I'm saying? But those guys did not have what it takes mentally to be a true champion, man. Gervonta Tank Davis, we have not yet seen if he has it mentally. You know what I'm saying? He has not been put to the test where we can see if he can overcome adversity. You know what I'm saying? Fortunately, Lomachenko, with his fight against Jorge Linares, we've seen that, he has the ability to overcome adversity, being dropped in the 7th round, man, and being able to get up off the canvas and have the mental fortitude to come back and win that fight. So we've seen that he was able to be there mentally, man. Now, having said that, I think Tank can beat Lomachenko. I think he can beat Lomachenko. Not say that he will beat Lomachenko, but I think Tank has the ability and the tools necessary to beat Lomachenko. He's a southpaw who has very good movement in the ring. He has very good vision. His vision is impeccable, man. He sees everything. His punch selection is great. Very good combination punches. Puncher. He can hurt you with either hand, man. And that's the biggest threat that Tank possess. One of the biggest threats that he possesses is that he can hurt you with either hand, man. And I don't think Jorge Linares can punch as hard as Gervonta Davis. So if Linares was able to drop a Vasily Lomachenko, I believe that if Tank land the right shot on Lomachenko, Lomachenko could possibly go night-night, can possibly go to sleep, man. Now, taking away nothing away from Lomachenko. Like I said, he's one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world right now at this point. But I also think that Gervonta Tank Davis could be and should be considered one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world. And I know I'm going to get a lot of flack for that, but I've seen it. I've seen it in Tank, man. He's just not fighting enough for a lot of you other guys to really see the talent in Tank, man. He comes from Baltimore. I know what it takes to live in Baltimore, man. I got a lot of family in Baltimore. I'm in Baltimore at the very least. I'm in Baltimore at least 2 times a year, man. So I know where Tanks come from, man. And you know what I mean? I know what he intends to do, you know what I'm saying? And he wants to fight. He wants to be the best. You know what I'm saying? It's his management team, Mayweather Promotions, TMT, who, are so stuck on the Mayweather blueprint that they're moving him along the way that they want to move him along. And not saying that's a good or bad thing, but that's just what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? They're trying to use the Mayweather blueprint for Tank. But, only fighting once a year, you know what I mean? Only having 20 fights, that's not good, man. The guy's, 23, 24 years old. He need to be fighting, man. When Floyd was that age, he was fighting very actively, you know what I'm saying? But listened to an interview with Calvin Ford on the Boxing Voice. You know what I mean? Shout out to the Boxing Voice, man. I got to give props where props is due. The Boxing Voice is definitely doing their thing, man. They're bringing us these exclusive interviews with all these trainers, with all these boxing insiders, man. And, we as a YouTube community, we got to recognize it, man. They're giving us all type of content to talk about. Calvin Ford was on there, man, and he stated that, a lot of Tank not fighting as often as we would like has a lot to do with Tank himself. You know what I'm saying? You got to remember, Tank is young, man. Tank is 23, 24 years old. You understand what I'm saying? With all this money. You know what I mean? He come from the mean streets of Baltimore, man. And right away he gets with Floyd Mayweather. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden he getting all this attention. He's making all this money. He's flying on private jets, going over London, doing press tours, man. He's doing all the things that a little kid only dreams of. You know what I'm saying? And he's doing it. He's accomplishing it, man. So, of course, he's going to make mistakes. Of course, he's going to say things that, a lot of people may not agree with. Just think about some of us who are a little older, man. Think about the things that we have done and said when we was 23 and 24. You know what I mean? Nobody could tell us shit. Nobody could tell me nothing at that time, man. I thought I was 100% right on everything that I was doing and saying, and nobody could tell me nothing. You know what I mean? I would listen to some people who I consider my OGs and, some people that I respected. But for the most part, I believed in what I was doing and believed in what I was saying, But as I look back today and look back some of my actions back then, it's quite embarrassing, man. It's very embarrassing at some of the things I did, some of the things I said, some of the ways that I moved, and the way I treated people, and things like that. I'm not proud of a lot of that stuff, man. I have no regrets because all of that have shaped the person that I am today. But at the same time, I can see where where the fault was. And so, we as boxing fans, sometimes we got to look at the whole situation on why a person is doing what they're doing, why they're saying what they're saying, man. You know what I'm saying? But I think Tank will get it together. You know what I mean? Calvin Ford, he also expressed that Tank just had a baby girl. And, sometimes when you have a child, especially a daughter, you know what I'm saying? that can change you. That could change you for the better, man. Make you appreciate things more. Make you a little bit more focused on what you need to do in life. You understand what I'm saying? And go after it. You know what I mean? Like I had a son at a very young age. I was 16 when I had my first son. You know what I'm saying? I was out in the street running wild. You know what I mean? And I wasn't able to appreciate. You know what I mean? I wasn't able to appreciate the gift that I had there, because I was a baby myself, you know what I'm saying? But, when I had my daughter, you know what I'm saying, I was a little bit older, you know what I mean, a little bit mature. Actually, I was Tank's age, I was 24, 25, 20, you know what I mean? I was his age, man, and it changed me. It changed the outlook I had on life. And, I took things a little bit more serious. So we got to give Tank some time to mature. You know what I mean? I know a lot of y'all don't give a damn about that. Y'all don't want to hear nothing about that, man. But, if you're being objective and you're being real, man, you have to understand that, when you're young and come from a place where Tank has come from, you know what I mean, these things are to be expected. And, I think he will get it together, man. And as far as him fighting Tevin Farmer's from my home state. I'm from PA, baby. It's PA all day, man. But I'm also a very, very big Gervonta Davis fan, man. And I think Tevin Farmer has a whole lot of skills, man. I think he is very talented. As we can see, every fight, he is getting better and better. He's starting to, not only does he move well and he has very great defense, he's a very slick fighter, but now we're starting to see him sit down more on his punches, and he's starting to hurt his opponents more. You know what I mean? He was able to get Tennyson out of there in the 7th round with a body shot. Nobody thought that Tevin Farmer would be able to knock Tennyson out with a body shot. Everybody was talking about Tennyson's power and what Tennyson was going to, Tank had to worry about Tennyson's power. They did not realize that Tevin Farmer was going to be sitting down on his punches, and Tennyson was going to have to worry about his power. You understand what I'm saying? Same thing with Billy Dibbs. Billy Dibbs thought he was going to go in there and bully Tevin Farmer, man, until Tevin Farmer hurt him, several times in that fight to win that championship, man. But as far as Tank Davis, again, I think, it would be a very interesting fight in the beginning. You know what I'm saying? Because of Tevin's movement, because of Tevin's skills and his slickness. But Gervonta Tank Davis can box very, very well, and he's very, very explosive, man. You know what I'm saying? He's explosive and hits hard. And, taking nothing away from Tevin Farmer, I do believe Gervonta Tank Davis would walk through Tevin Farmer, man. I think he's just too strong for him, man. And, in his fight coming up on February 9th against Abner Mares, I'm listening to Robert Garcia. Again, shout out to Ness and the Boxing Voice. He did an interview on there where, he said this without really saying it, that, a lot of fighters don't, a lot of fighters like Tank and Earl Spence, you know what I mean? They do not fight well when their opponent presses them, when their opponent presses the action, when they're going backwards. And I just cannot see Abner Mares being able to back Tank up. You know what I'm saying? I just cannot see it. Abner Mares is coming up in weight. He was not able to back Jesus Cuellar up, you know what I'm saying? Abner Mares, for the most part, he was on the back foot that whole fight. You know what I'm saying? And people try to downplay Tank, man. You know what I mean? These guys have these common opponents. Lomachenko just fought Pedraza, and Pedraza, in my opinion, as people like to say, exposed. I don't think he exposed Lomachenko, but, he was a very tough fight for Lomachenko, and he showed some holes in Lomachenko's defense. Now, Lomachenko won the fight; he dominated the fight, but Pedraza has some moments in there where he looked good, man. You know what I'm saying? And after the fight, they asked Pedraza about who he thought was better, Tank or Lomachenko, and of course he said Lomachenko. You know what I mean? When Tank went in there and beat the dog shit out of Pedraza. You know what I'm saying? And looked very good doing it. He did not look vulnerable at all in that fight. Tank was playing around with this guy, man, punishing him. You know what I'm saying? So Tank does not get the just due that, that I think that he's due, man. You know what I'm saying? These guys don't respect him, man. Same thing with Abner Mares. He fought Quaylar. Tank went in there and destroyed him in a few rounds. Abner was able to drop him late in the fight, I believe in the 11th round, but that fight went to a decision. Gervonta Tank Davis went in there and destroyed him, man. You know what I mean? Took it to him. Quaylar tried to come out there with that aggressive shit, you know what I'm saying, in the first round, but he soon felt that power of Gervonta Davis and changed his game plan completely and got washed. Tank beat the brakes off of him, man. So I know people say styles make fights and all this and that, but you got to look at, the common opponents that these guys have faced, man. And Pedraza, he stopped Tevin Farmer. I know it was early in Tevin Farmer's career. Like I said, Tevin Farmer has got so much better since then. I really appreciate what Tevin Farmer brings to the game. He's a very, very good, talented fighter, man. I'm not knocking him. You understand what I'm saying? But in my opinion, I think Gervonta Tank Davis will be just a little bit too much for Tevin Farmer, man. Then you got Tank on the internet, man, going back and forth with pound for pound King Terrence Crawford, man. I think Tank said something to the fact that he thinks that Earl Spence stops Crawford, and Crawford being an athlete, the competitor that he is, he came back with some words, man. And, the two went back and forth for some words. And, Tank has done this before, man, where, and I don't like when he does this, man. I don't like when he did it with the Charlos. You know what I'm saying? I don't like how he did it with Terrence Crawford. Basically bringing that, insinuating street shit. You know what I'm saying? Saying, if you put your hands on me, you won't put your hands on nobody else. He said the same thing to the Charlo brothers, man. You got to watch what you say, man, because when you're dealing with real street dudes, man, sometimes you say something and you cannot take it back, man. Sometimes your words, it gets your ass into trouble, man. And it may not be the particular fighter, who said the words. You know what I'm saying? These guys have been affiliated with the streets. You know what I'm saying? They come up hard, and they still got connections to guys who are still out there in the streets. And sometimes, they bring along these guys to the press conferences, bring along these guys to the fights, man. And it could be one of these guys who are trying to prove something to the fighter, that he's loyal, that he's down, that he got his back, and they'll be the one who do something, man, that, these fighters can't take back, man, and to ruin their career and could ruin their life forever. So these guys need to watch what they're saying, man, stick to strictly boxing, and leave all the street talk, out of it, man. All these guys that I'm speaking of are elite fighters. All of them could fight at the highest level. Abner Mares, Tevin Farmer, Lomachenko, Gervonta Davis, Terrence Crawford, the Charlo brothers. All these guys are elite fighters. You know what I'm saying? All of them are the cream of the crop, as you would say. You know what I'm saying? And they got too much to lose to, to be talking like this, man. And so I hope that, they could keep things to boxing. I hope that they could keep things, from the streets, man, and just keep it professional, man, because God forbid something bad happens, man, and one of them, do something that they can never take back. You understand what I'm saying? But Gervonta Tank Davis is excited, man. He got this big fight coming up. He's headlining his first card, so he's excited, man. You know what I mean? He's feeling like he's finally got what he deserves, man, and that's to have your name on that in lights, to have your name on that marquee. You know what I mean? Gervonta Tank Davis versus Abner Mares. You know what I'm saying? That's a big accomplishment in itself, I know his goal is to fight 3 times this year. hopefully we get to see that, man. Hopefully we get to see him more active and more busy, because like I said, I do think Tank is a hell of a fighter. I do think he could be one of the best fighters in the world if he stays focused, man, if he leave that street shit alone, and if he matures, as I think that he will, what I mean, as all men do, some faster than others, what I mean, it takes some of us a little bit longer to mature, man, but Gervonta Tank Davis got the skills to pay the bills. He is the real deal, and I think he would be a problem for any of those names that I just named there, Lomachenko, Tevin Farmer, Abner Mares, all these guys, man, they're gonna be in a fight. Trust me, they're gonna be in a fight. There's no walk in the park for none of these guys, man. And I favor Tank. I favor Tank in all three of those matchups, man. Not saying that'll be easy, but I favor Tank, man. If he comes in focused, if he has good training camp, if he's not sidetracked by out of the ring issues, I believe that he can get the job done. You know what I mean? But it's yet to be seen. All this right now is just talk. All of it right now is just speculation. All of it right now is just my opinion. And I hope I have not offended nobody with my opinion. And if I did, then, hey, there's nothing I could do about it, because I'm going to give my opinion on this here thing called Big Faces Worldwide. You dig? But happy New Year's to all of you, man. I look forward to a whole year full of boxing talk, a whole year full of, just great boxing. You understand what I'm saying? But if you're new to the channel, don't leave out of here without subscribing. If you've been here before, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to share this video. And if you dislike it, go ahead and hit the dislike button. But make sure you hit it twice.